What are some things only mentally ill people would understand? Serious. I can't get out of bed today. Willpower doesn't lead to a sustainable fix. Creating the right conditions for yourself to thrive does. This. I've tried so hard to change. I changed my mentality many times. Became the overly positive one. Became the cold and victim blaming one. Denied mental illnesses and claimed that today, and the past 6 years, have just been bad days, and sought therapy. I'm still in the process of the last one, but it's so hard when the place we live now is so small and so full of clutter, because my family loves to hoard. Some days it feels like I'm tied to my bed, but on some manic days I get that surge of productivity, which is a silver lining I grew to love. But looking at the state of our living conditions kill that boost of productivity and overwhelm me so much that I just go back to my bed. Having everyone constantly tell you how smart and overly competent and capable you are, but never ever feeling that way except for fleeting moments. Especially when you have a deeply ingrained knee-jerk reaction of contradicting any positive thing said about you, which pushes people away until you spend years learning how to not automatically verbalize those thoughts. Being genuinely afraid a lot of the time that you might be acting strangely and not know. Same for whether or not you are thinking clearly, rationally. Not knowing if your thoughts and emotions are your own. Is this the mental illness talking? Do I only feel this way because of the meds? For better or worse, am I behaving rationally? Are these just normal thoughts? Which feelings, voices are the right ones to listen to? Where is the real me in the middle of all of this? This is pretty much a day in my head. It's a very hard cycle to get out of. That you can genuinely like and want to do something and be unable to do it. That whose birthday you remember and whose you miss isn't always a function of who you care about more, but whether your brain is working well enough to allow social interaction during the season when people in your life have birthdays. You put it into words. Thank you. Being tired regardless of 8+ hours of sleep. I never feel awake. It's a constant state of exhaustion, regardless of how much sleep I've had. The damage that phrases like you have so much potential or you just don't care enough do. And then when you say why you can't use the potential, they get offended and say you can just fix your problems, because all their problems have been due to their own stupidity. Also, I didn't expect this from you. These statements are so harmful, especially for people with suicide potential. They obviously are not in a state to understand things positively and you keep adding more negativity. I don't know why people don't understand that. That you can't just calm down during a panic attack. It actually makes it worse. I've yelled at people, family members and friends, for telling me to calm down in the middle of one. You have to shift focus and ground yourself as best you can, then ride it out. Not pleasant at all. That even if two people have the same condition, it's still completely different. For example, if you know someone with depression and they discovered steps they could take to successfully cope and get by in life, those steps don't do jack it for the next person with depression. Each case is completely different. If I can do it, so can you. Ugh. The absolute soul-destroying, endless mental brain fog, tiredness. It's like wearing a weight vest and ankle wrist weights while heavily sedated and wading through molasses. Caffeine is useless and sleep only makes it worse. Destroying your body with your vices to keep mental sanity versus staying physically healthy, but succumbing to your insanity, is a fight you'll never win. The balance is always a lose-lose. I can finally clear my head if I'm drunk or stoned and feel at peace, except that destroys my family life and health. So I quit and try go to the gym, except that now I'm constantly angry, on edge, and I just don't care about anything in general. Frick. No matter how much you try, or how much someone cares about you, there's really no explaining how it feels. I know no one really can truly understand another person, but it is still so lonely when you can't explain to your wife why you just can't today or why you need to do X right now. That when a person says I'm fine, just tired, they are most definitely not fine. Also, just how difficult it is to do the simplest things, like getting out of bed in the morning, bathing yourself, cleaning your room, eating, working, etc. Being depressed and being sad are two different things. Sadness is a healthy, necessary, cathartic, even beautiful emotion. Depression is, among many things, the antithesis of beauty, a soul-crushing, personality-destroying, immobilizing, numb, but somehow still intensely painful lack of even the capability of normal emotion. High-functioning autistic person among other things. Wanting to go out, but as soon as you go out wanting to go home both ways thinking one or the other would make you happier when it doesn't. Also noises hurt, certain texture hurt, wearing jewelry hurts, they all cause me physical pain. Sensory processing issues. Also being clinically depressed and having one bout of depression are different. Lastly, the sadness when a family member tells you they're scared to go into your room in the morning because they're afraid you'll be dead. The fear of being judged for this thing that is completely out of your control. Being blamed for your illness. The need to do something, but unable to actually focus, or being focused on something that doesn't matter, like how many fingerprint marks are on a doorknob at work when you're supposed to be working on this year's big project, but your brain won't let you. Truly believing that your suicide is the best option for everyone, and your loved ones are better off without you and burden of your illness. To anyone feeling like this right now, there is hope. Stay alive. Things can get better. I've been there myself 3 serious times and I'm glad I survived. Recovery is possible. Your loved ones and the world are not better off without you. That just because we can identify a thought or feeling as irrational doesn't mean we can magically make it stop. I truly do not want your help. We all know something's wrong. I know you're worried. But on top of everything I'm dealing with, I can't also be responsible for your feelings. Now let's play Scrabble, and leave me alone. It is very damaging when people, either purposefully or unintentionally, guilt trip or shame a person for self-harm and, or suicidal tendencies, saying stuff like you are being so selfish, this is hurting Emmy, or think about how this makes your family feel, is entirely unhelpful and is just causing more stress. Even more so, it flips the victimization table. The one that needs help is the person dealing with suicidal tendencies, no one else. If you really think about it, people who unrightfully victimize themselves because someone else is self-harming and or suicidal are the selfish ones. You just can't switch it off. True paranoid delusions, unless you've had a bad acid trip or something. That's your perception, no matter how intelligent you are. No matter how many degrees you have or how prestigious your job is, can be absolutely 100% incorrect, and that what you're absolutely sure is true may not be at all. Psychosis is terrifying and it doesn't care who you are or how rational you normally may be. Everything loops and there's nothing you can do, and it's difficult to change loops. That no matter what you do, even if you're comfortable while doing it, that you can regret it later and would never do it again without any reason. That nothing in your life has to be wrong for you to be deeply depressed and troubled. You can have money, a job, a good relationship and still want to jump off a bridge, because the pain and loneliness and self-hatred and whatever else is so intense. And knowing logically that there is nothing wrong with your life, knowing that it's you makes it worse, not better. Because you know then, you're broken. To be clear, no one is broken. But that's how mental illness makes me feel. You have this beautiful life. See? It's you. You're the problem. What the frick is wrong with you? Your brain is broken. Suicide is not a selfish act. And I'd argue that anyone who says it is, hasn't been truly suicidal. When I wanted to die, I was 98% convinced that in the long run, I was doing everyone a favor and that it was more of a burden on my friends and family for me to be alive than dead. I genuinely thought I would be helping other people. Making detailed lists of the most mundane things only to forget why you made the list in the first place, to later realize you made the list to not forget. Loneliness and isolation. And the anger you feel when you see people looking at you and you know they're judging you for something that's not your fault. That panic attacks and freaking out about some mundane, trivial thing that happened to you during the day. Panic attacks are debilitating, consuming, dreadful beliefs of certain death, impending doom, or some arrival at something terrible from which there is no return. Neurotypical people giving you simple solutions for your very complex problems. Just exercise more. Drink more water. Do yoga and meditate. It's so difficult to explain that no amount of exercise, water or yoga will solve the dysfunction in your brain. If you broke your leg or had cancer, no sane person would tell you to drink water or eat a salad to make it better. They'd insist you go to a doctor. But seeing a therapist or a psychiatrist is weirdly taboo, because no matter what it's for, you're deemed as crazy or unhinged. Thanks for watching the Reddit Radio. If you liked this video, please subscribe and click the like button. Click the top video to see my latest upload, and the bottom video is a random selection pick to interest you.